Hello students, welcome to Interconnecting Physics. Today I will explain you about some applications of Gauss theorem. So without wasting time, let's get started. For further updates, you can follow me on given links. So applications of Gauss theorem. So first of all, the thing is, what is the application of Gauss theorem? What is the use of Gauss theorem? Gauss theorem is used to calculate the electric field of continuous charge distribution like line charges, sheet of charges or charged sphere. Students, there are so many ways to calculate electric field, but Gauss theorem gives us the simplest method to calculate the electric field due to continuous charge distribution. So first of all is electric field intensity due to infinitely long straight uniformly charged wire. So suppose we have infinitely long straight wire. Suppose we have a wire in which positive charge is uniformly distributed. It can be negative charge, but for the time being, let us suppose positive charge is uniformly distributed. Now, what does infinitely long mean here? You know, the point P where we wish to calculate the electric field, if this point is very near to the wire, then as compared to this distance, the wire may be considered as infinitely long. Suppose the distance R is in millimeters, is in some millimeters. Suppose 0.5 millimeter or 1 millimeter. And the length of the wire is in meters. Suppose 10 meter or 2 meter, any of these values in meters, then we say that this wire is long, infinitely long. That means, I repeat again, if the distance of point P from the wire is very small as compared to the length of the wire, then we consider this wire as infinitely long wire. Now, since this is continuous charge distribution, as we have already said here, that electric field of continuous charge distribution. Now, this is continuous charge distribution. It means we cannot calculate how many charges are present here. So, we take lambda here, that is linear charge density. Linear charge density. So, linear charge density is charge per unit length. Then we take charge per unit length. So let us consider a point P at a distance R from the wire. Now we draw a cylinder whose radius is R and length is L around this wire. These are the steps which are to be followed here if we are to calculate the electric field using Gauss theorem. So when we consider point P, so we draw some symmetrical shape around this wire. And here the symmetrical shape is in the form of cylinder whose length is L and radius is R. Now, you know what is Gaussian surface? Gaussian surface is the surface at every point of which the electric field is same. Electric field is constant. Why? Due to symmetry. Because due to symmetry, what is the key point of Gaussian surface? Symmetry is the key point of the Gaussian surface. If we take symmetrical shape, suppose we take here a Gaussian surface in the form of cylinder, then electric field is always same at every point of this Gaussian surface. Now you see here there are three parts of the cylinder, one part, second part and third part. Third part is curved, which is around the wire. You see, if we assume cylinder around the wire, it is curved around the wire. And this is upper part, this is bottom part. Now in upper part, you know what is area vector? Area vector is always perpendicular to the surface and outward. Now outward. If we take this side, this will be inward. So we have to take outward. It means area vector in part 1 will be along this direction and electric field is along this direction. So angle is 90 degree. Similarly, if you see in part 2, the area vector will be perpendicular to the surface and outward. Now in this direction, and electric field is in the same direction, this direction. So angle is 90 degree. Now in curved area, you see area vector is perpendicular to the surface and outward. So outward in this direction, and electric field is also in this direction. So here angle between E and ds is 0 degree. Now apply Gauss theorem. We have to apply Gauss theorem. So what does Gauss theorem say? Closed integration of E dot ds equal to Q over epsilon naught. And if lambda equal to Q divided by L, then Q will be lambda into L. So we write here lambda L. Now cylinder Gaussian surface is divided into three parts, 1, 2 and 3. So we open this closed integration into three parts. Now you see for part 1 and 2, electric field vector and area vector are perpendicular to each other. So for surfaces 1 and 2, it will become EDS cos 90 degree and it is 0. So we are left with only third surface, that is E dot ds equal to lambda L over epsilon naught, and in this case E and ds vector are in the same direction. So we write cos 0 degree and result is E ds integration equal to lambda L over epsilon naught. Now you know what is Gaussian surface? Gaussian surface is the surface at every point of which, due to symmetry, at every point of which the value of electric field is same, means constant. So it means electric field E can be taken outside from the integration. Now ds is the area of the curved surface of the cylinder, and you know that is 2 pi r into L. So we substitute this area here. So we get E into 2 pi rl equal to lambda L over epsilon naught, and when we cross multiply, we see L cancels out with L and we get the result lambda over 2 pi r epsilon naught. Now best thing to be remembered here, E is inversely proportional to R. E is inversely proportional to R. You see graph here, electric field and R. If E is inversely proportional to R here, it means as the distance of the point P from the wire increases, electric field goes on decreasing. Okay, and in vector form it is E vector equal to lambda over 2 pi epsilon naught r into n cap, where n cap is the unit vector perpendicular to the curved area of the wire, means this was the cylinder and this was the wire. So n vector will be this direction, perpendicular to the curved surface area. If wire is positive, the direction of the electric field will be away from the wire, and if wire is negative, the direction of the electric field will be inward the wire, means towards the wire. Now next you see the next application is the electric field due to uniformly charged infinite plane sheet. So means it is the case of two-dimensional symmetry. So let us suppose we have a sheet in which positive charge is uniformly distributed and sigma is its surface charge density. Now we have to calculate the electric field due to this sheet. So let us consider a point P. Now in case of sheet, the point P can be considered this side and can be considered this side. So let us draw a Gaussian surface in the form of cylinder, or it is called as pillbox. Okay. So let us draw a cylinder at point P. Here distance is r from the wire, and in this side distance of P prime is r. Okay. Now it is also divided into three parts, 1, 2 and 3. Now you see here, for part 1, the electric field and area vector in the same direction, because area vector is the vector which is perpendicular to the surface and directly outward. So outward here, so angle is 0 degree. And for part 2, the E vector and ds also in the same direction, again angle is 0 degree. Now for part 3, area vector should be perpendicular and in the outward direction. Now outward it cannot be this side because it will be inside the pillbox. It cannot be in this direction because again it will be inside. So it will be towards you, means this vector will be toward you, outward or inside the paper. So it means electric field vector and ds vector here are at 90 degree. Now, what is infinite means here? It means the distance r, the distance of point P from the sheet is very small as compared to the dimensions of the sheet. So, we consider this sheet as infinitely plane sheet, and in this case infinitely plane sheet, only one side of the sheet we consider. Always remember this, only one side of the sheet is considered here, only one side of the charge is considered here, only one side surface charge density is considered here. Now this is the example of continuous charge distribution. It means we don't know here the value of charge. We cannot calculate how many charges are present over here. So we use surface charge density, that is sigma. So we take the help of surface charge density, that is sigma, which is Q divided by area. Means per unit area we can calculate the charge in per unit area, but we cannot calculate the charge over the whole area of the sheet. So we take the help of sigma. So if sigma equal to Q divided by A, then Q will be sigma into A. Here A is considered as S. You write sigma into S. Now, according to Gauss theorem, again apply Gauss theorem. The steps are same. Firstly, you have to consider the given sheet or given wire. Then we have to draw Gaussian surface. Then we have to divide the Gaussian surface into different parts. Then we have to apply Gauss theorem. Now, Gauss theorem is closed integration of E dot ds equal to Q over epsilon naught. Q is sigma s. If sigma is Q over s, then let's now divide this closed integration into three parts. And for surface 3, you see the angle between E vector and ds vector is 90 degree, and we are left with first part and second part. Now in first part and second part, angle is 0 degree and cos 0 is 1. So we are left with EDS integration plus EDS closed integration equal to sigma s over epsilon naught. You know what is Gaussian surface? Gaussian surface is the surface at every point of which the electric field intensity is constant. So can be taken out from the integration. And what is the area of the surface 1 and surface 2? S. It is S. We have considered S. S and S. So it is 2Es equal to sigma S over epsilon naught. Now S cancels out with S and we are left with the final result, that is the electric field due to infinitely plane sheet is E equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught. Remember these formula always. In vector form it is E vector equal to sigma over 2 epsilon naught n cap, where n cap is the unit vector perpendicular to the plane of the sheet. Now, if the sheet is positively charged, then electric field will be pointing away from the sheet. And if sheet is negatively charged, then electric field will be directed towards the sheet. Okay. Now the special case. If sheet has finite thickness, then both sides of the sheet will be considered. Now, I just told you that if sheet is infinitely charged, so we consider only one side charge, we consider only one side surface charge density. But special case is if sheet has finite thickness. Then what we do, then both sides of the sheet will be considered. Then equation number 1. You see here, where is equation number 1? This. Then equation number 1 will be 2 sigma s. Earlier we wrote sigma s over epsilon naught. But now here we write 2 sigma s over epsilon naught because both sides of the sheet will be considered here. So the result of this was 2es because for third part it was 0. So we are left with only two parts 1 and 2, and here the result was 2es equal to 2 sigma s over epsilon naught. 2 cancels out with 2, s cancels out with s, and result is E equal to sigma over epsilon naught. Now you see here, if we considered both sides of the sheet, the result is maximum. And if we consider only one side of the sheet, the result is sigma over 2 epsilon naught, means half of this value. Okay. Now the graph, you see whether we consider one side sheet, we consider two sides of sheet. The result is independent of the R. The result is not depending upon R. So it means graph between electric field and distance is parallel to x-axis, that is constant. Electric field is always constant. It does not depend upon the R. Okay. Now, sorry. The third application of Gauss theorem is electric field intensity due to two parallel infinite sheets of charge. Two parallel infinite. Earlier we took only one plate. Now we take two plates. You see, two parallel plates like this. 1 and 2. Okay. Here we took that both are positively charged. If both are positively charged, let us say sigma 1 is surface charge density of this plate, sigma 2 is surface charge density of this plate, and let us suppose sigma 1 is greater than sigma 2. You see here we have two sheets. It means sheet A will produce its own electric field, sheet B will produce its own electric field, and we have to calculate the electric field of both the sheets. Now we have three regions here. Number 1 region left of the sheets, number 2 region in between the sheets, and number 3 regions right side of the sheets. So this is positive x-axis, this is negative x-axis. Now you see, if uh, electric field produced by the sheet is, we know it is sigma over 2 epsilon naught, because it is given as infinite plane sheet, so we take as sigma over 2 epsilon naught. Now electric field produced by a sheet will be E1 equal to sigma 1 over 2 epsilon naught. Okay, and electric field produced by sheet 2 will be sigma 2 over 2 epsilon naught. So let us suppose we are in this region. Let us suppose we are in the first region. Okay. Here electric field produced by A is sigma 1 over 2 epsilon naught, but it is away from the positive sheet because sheet is positively charged. So electric field will be away from the sheet and will be along negative x-axis. So the answer is negative. If we take as vector, so it will be negative I cap. Okay. And E2, what is the value of electric field of sheet B? It is E2 sigma 2 over 2 epsilon naught, but it is also away from the sheet, means along negative x-axis. If we are region 1 along negative x-axis, means result is minus sigma 2 over 2 epsilon naught I cap. So net electric field in region 1, it is minus E1 and minus E2 because both are negative. So put the value and take the constant term minus 1 by 2 epsilon naught sigma 1 plus sigma 2 I cap. Now if we move in the region 2, you see here, suppose point P here, earlier the point P was here. Now we consider point P is present in between the sheets. Now the electric field produced by the sheet A, it will be away from the positively charged sheet, means along positive x-axis, means the result will be positive. Now, for sheet B, the electric field is, for sheet B, the electric field will be sigma 2 over 2 epsilon naught. Okay. And it is away from the sheet, means along this direction, means it will be negative here. So, answer in this, in between the plates will be E1 vector minus E2 vector. Okay. Now, in third region, the electric field of A, E1, will be away from the A and along the positive x-axis, means E1 will be positive, and the electric field of B is E2 is also away from the sheet B and also along the positive x-axis, and it is also positive. So net result in region 3 will be E1 vector plus E2 vector because both are positive. So let us summarize this. So in region 1, the left of the sheet A, the net electric field is minus E1 minus E2 because both are in negative x-axis, both are negative. So the result is this. So in region 2, the electric field by sheet A is positive and for sheet B it is negative because for sheet B it is away from the positively charged sheet and in negative x-axis. So result is this if we take the common terms outside. And for the right side of the sheet, both fields are positive because both are in the positive x-axis. The result is this. So these are the results due to two parallel sheets. But the key point which you have to remember is, come here. Special case. If sheet A is positively charged and sheet B is equally negatively charged, means sheet A is positively charged equally and sheet B is negatively charged equally, means sigma 1 is sigma and sigma 2 is minus sigma. Now you see here in region 1, you see here sigma 1 plus sigma 2. So sigma 1 we write sigma and sigma 2 we write minus sigma. The result is 0. Means left side of the sheet the net electric field is 0 if sheets are equally positive and negatively charged. Now in region 2 it is sigma 1 minus sigma 2. We put sigma 1 as sigma and sigma 2 as minus sigma. So minus minus will be plus and here 2 cancels out with 2 and the result is sigma over epsilon naught I cap. Means in between the sheet the value is sigma over epsilon naught. And again in right side the result is 0. Now the main thing you have to remember here, if we are given with two parallel sheets and one is positive and another is equally negative, then electric field will exist only in between the sheets, and left and right means outside the sheets the electric field will be 0. So means here electric field produced is uniform because it is not depending upon the distance. It is uniform, which is sigma over epsilon naught, and it only exists in between the sheets, means inside the sheets. Now next point is, if both sheets are positively charged or both sheets are negatively charged but equal negative. If both are equally positive, sigma 1 will be sigma, sigma 2 will be sigma. Then you see in region 1 and region 2 there exists the value of electric field, but inside the sheets electric field is 0 if both are positive. This is the case when both are positive or when both are negative. Then there will be no electric field. There will be no electric field inside the sheets, but outside the sheets it will be in the left side minus sigma over epsilon naught and in right side it is sigma over epsilon naught. So let us summarize this. So electric field due to two infinite sheets of same charge. Okay, same charge and equally charged. Then due to two infinite sheets of same charge, means both may be positive or both may be negative. Then you see electric field inside the sheets is 0. But if we are given with electric field due to two infinite sheets of oppositely charged, then electric field exists between the two sheets, which is sigma over epsilon naught. I hope you understood this very well. Now come to some questions. Suppose we have two plane sheets having charge density sigma 1 and sigma 2 are perpendicular to each other. What will be the magnitude of electric field at point O between the plates? Very important question according to competitive point of view or according to board exams also. Now, you know electric field due to sheet is sigma over 2 epsilon naught. For sheet 1, it will be sigma 1 over 2 epsilon naught because we are given with the surface charge density of one sheet is sigma 1 and surface charge density of sheet 2 is sigma 2. Now, since both are perpendicular to each other, means angle is 90 degree. So, at point O, net electric field will be E1 square plus E2 square plus 2E1 E2 cos theta. Theta is 90 degree, so 90 degree will be 0. So here result is 0. So we write only square root of E1 square plus E2 square means E1 and E2 resultant of these two vector is under root of E1 square plus E2 square. Substitute the value of E1 square and E2 square and get the result. Now the next question is, spherical bladder is uniformly charged over its surface. Okay. Then what is the variation in the electric field for a point on the surface of the bladder when it is blown up? Means when it is not blown up, let us say the electric field is sigma over epsilon naught because it is spherical bladder, and spherical bladder we take electric field as sigma over epsilon naught. Now when it is blown up, now you see sigma is, what is sigma? Sigma is Q divided by A, where A is the area of the bladder. If bladder is blown up, means area will be increased. Area will increase. So if area will increase, surface charge density will decrease. So if surface charge density will decrease, it means electric field will also decrease. So it means if bladder is blown up, means area of the bladder is increased, so electric field will also decrease. Now, what is the effect of very high speed surface charge density of a square? Now you see surface charge density is Q divided by A. Now Q is invariant, charge is invariant. I have already told you in the properties of charge that a charge is invariant quantity, means it does not change with the speed of the object. So it means Q will not change here. Now area of the square, because we are given with square. Now square, if the speed is equal to the speed of light, that is 3 into 10 raised to power 8 meter per second. If the speed of the square is comparable to the speed of the light, then that side which is moving in the direction of speed of light, that side length will be decreased. That side length will be decreased. It means area will also decrease, and if area will decrease, surface charge density will increase. It means surface charge density will also change with the very high speed of the surface element. If square is moving with very high speed, then it means surface charge density will decrease. Now, if the charge q coulomb is moved out from the Gaussian surface, what will be the change in electric flux through the surface? So let us suppose we have a closed Gaussian surface, and moreover Gaussian surface is always closed. Suppose it has original charge q. So it means what will be its flux? Its flux will be q over epsilon naught. Now the question is, the q coulomb charge has been moved out from the Gaussian surface. So let us remove q charge from here. So it means the charge left will be q minus q, because q charge, capital Q charge has been moved out from the Gaussian surface. So new flux will be phi prime q minus q over epsilon naught, because what is Gauss theorem? Gauss theorem says that total electric flux is always 1 over epsilon naught times charge enclosed. Now this time enclosed charge is q minus q. So what will be the change in electric flux? Phi minus phi prime, which is q over epsilon naught, because phi was more and phi prime is less because charge has been moved out, some charge has been moved out. So phi minus phi prime will be q over epsilon naught minus q over epsilon naught, and the result is capital Q over epsilon naught. Now suppose we have three charges given plus 2q minus q plus 3q. Now two charges are enclosed within the surface, that is plus 2q and minus q are enclosed, plus 3q is outside the Gaussian surface. So what is the electric flux due to these charges? Now you see here, what is the electric flux? It is the net charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface. And now the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface is 2q minus q, which is q. So it means net electric flux will be q over epsilon naught, because we take charges which are enclosed by the Gaussian surface. We don't bother about the charges which are outside the surface. So this was all about today's video. Thank you very much. If you want PDF notes, you can ask me in comment section, or you can follow me in my Telegram channel. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Stay healthy, stay happy.